happy day, and welcome to the Sheila C. Hill Show. And that C stands for come on in this room and have a sit down so we can chit chat just for a little while. Now, the Sheila C. Hill Show is the ultimate go to podcast for ambitious individuals who want to live a more fulfilling life and get valuable insights with expert tips and it's from inspiring stories to help you improve your lifestyle, grow your business, and enhance your emotional well being. Now, in every episode, you're going to gain practical tips and insightful wisdom in the company of a supportive community. Whom I like to call Sheila's Thrive Tribe. Yes, to be a part of my Thrive Tribe, just come on, hit that subscribe button and call Mama them. Tell them the Sheila C. Hill Show is on. But if you are new, listen, welcome to the show. I am your host, Sheila C. Hill. I just want to say hello, hola, bonjour, como está, ni hao, howdy, and what's going on, my people? So glad that you are here today. Now, listen, I always tell you, I know, you know what I'm about to say, that I bring the best guest in the land. Yes, I bring the best guest for you. And listen, today is going to be nothing short of amazing. And I say short because that's her last name, Djuan Short. Nothing short of amazing. She is a licensed clinical social worker. Listen, homegirl, she is a trailblazer in holistic wellness. You hear me? So listen, call all your people and tell them to tune in because she loves addressing mind, body, and spirit for women's comprehensive well-being. Listen, she holds a M.S.W. from the University of Pennsylvania. Listen, Djuan blends her academic knowledge with practical experience, positively impacting women leaders' mental health and well-being. You all know that mental health piece is a part of my soft spot in my heart because listen, I have been through the storm and the rain. So listen, she has done it all, I tell you. And as the founder of her business, Dahlia Rose Wellness Center, Djuan passionately empowers women in leadership, guiding them to recognize their value and live fully expressed lives. Djuan's expertise includes navigating work-life balance for women leaders, offering insights to avoid burnout, managing stress, and fostering healthy relationships. I am so honored to have her here on the stage. We're going to welcome her to the stage right now. We have Djuan Short. Yay, welcome to the show. Listen, I have a clapper, so this is my little clapper. Welcome to the stage, my love. So glad that you are here. I know I did your intro, but listen, we're just going to have a talk, honey. We're going to have a chit chat today. Can you share more about your personal journey and what led you to focus on corporate mental health and wellness needs specifically for women? Let's talk about that.
Yeah, so to kind of feed you up to where we are today. So my background is in child welfare, education, and then mental health services. So over the last, I want to say maybe 4 years, I've been working primarily with women leaders, women who are executives, and women who are going into being CEOs of their own company and going into different spaces that they never got a chance to occupy before. So that experience really helped me to hone in on what are some of the challenges that a lot of the women leaders I'm working with are dealing with. And what I kept seeing was that a lot of these women, they were highly accomplished, but they put themselves last on the list of things that needed to be done. And a lot of their worth was connected to, how they saw their accomplishments. It wasn't based on who they were at their core. And
Mhm.
then in their personal lives, they were still struggling with, trauma from childhood, or difficult relationships with their partners, or difficult relationships with their children. But at work, it was like, who I am at work, that validated me more than the person I was when I wasn't at work. And so a lot of the work that I've done over the last few years has really been trying to help women understand, what does it mean to occupy the space in the middle, where you are who you are at home and at work, and your sense of validation is still coming from self, and it's not because of these external factors. It's more about this internal factor happening here.
Woo! My. Yes, that's deep. And that's so needed because
Mhm.
we get so trapped in the different roles that we wear and the different hats that we have. And it's so hard to get out of that loop. Thank you for doing that. My goodness. I'm so glad that you're here. Listen, it might help me out a little bit today, too, honey.
Yes.
Okay, now, has there been anyone who has influenced your perspective on work, women's work, and well-being?
Mm. So, yes, last year I read this book by Sheryl Sandberg. She was like essentially the first woman of Facebook. And the book was called, oh my gosh, Lead. I want to say the book might have been called Lead. And when I read that book, it made me think about the ways in which women who are executives, or they would like to be in an executive position, would say no, they can't go for that because they're looking for accomplishments in other things like motherhood, or being a wife, or being a caregiver to their parents. And then for the women that did go for those accomplishments, they had a lot of difficulty in being able to navigate, motherhood, being a wife or being a spouse, and then caring for their parents and all the things. And it's like, on either side, it seemed like the women were sacrificing something. And what came to be in the middle of my understanding of a lot of that work is like, when you're leading, you're creating, and also at the same time, like, you're grieving a lot of the things that you're releasing. So that was a book that was like very pivotal for me at the beginning of 2023. This year, I started the year with Ariana Huffington's book called Thrive. And that was pivotal for me in giving me more language to really define this other leg of success, which is well-being for leadership. And how women, when we come into leadership spaces, we are, in the past, we've measured our success based on the same metric that most men use, which is which is power and wealth. But for women, because we are nurturers, we are carers, all of those things, well-being is actually the third metric for us that we need to cultivate. And because I'm a therapist and I have, this background of like being in wellness, it really helped to synthesize the work that I have been doing. So those two books have been really instrumental over the last 2 years with just providing language to really help hone in on what the practice has been from a clinical perspective.
Wow, that's awesome. Okay, now you mentioned when you're leading, you're creating. Can you touch on that a little bit
Mhm.
more?
Yeah, so think about it for this moment, right? As a leader, you are always visioning what comes next, right? Like, you're looking at where you are and what's coming next, but you're like, the goal is to not harp on what you don't have, like the bridge that you got to get over. You're creating the vision of where you're going. But as you're creating the vision of where you're going, you're literally creating the steps as you move forward. So it leaves you in this space of creativity. And, when you think about the top leaders in the world, they actually spend more time doing what I call the sweet life work, where they are engaging in reading and writing and music and time with friends and family. Their well being is more, right? Like, you hear about LeBron James, and he talks about the amount of money that he uses to invest in himself and in his body is probably more than his other normal expenses. But it's because these leaders are funneling into the things that make them feel well so that they can go out and perform. So in order for you to do that, you have to first have a vision of what you're creating, and then you build the pieces for how the creation becomes a whole.
Oh, I love it. Great. Excellent. Excellent. Excellent demonstration on that. Okay, so you mentioned about so many people talk about, especially on social media, the soft life. Oh, I just want the soft life, but we don't focus, but the sweet life work, as you just mentioned, if you do that, you can have the soft life, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like do the work, invest in yourself and everything. You're gonna be successful at the end of that. Wow. I love
Yes.
it. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right. Speaking of success, okay, we focus on being successful and that's our goals, our main
Mm-hmm.
goal. But what do you believe that how does wellness play in the journey of being successful?
Mm-hmm. So for me and the work that I've done and what I've read and like research, what it all comes down to is success is the output, wellness is the input. So if you are taking care of your health, right? You drinking water, working out, you're tending to your mindset, your spirituality, all of those different 8 areas of wellness, mental health, financial health, spiritual health, relational health, emotional health, etc. If you're tending to those areas and you're finding a rhythm, not necessarily a balance, because what we understand is that in different seasons we're doing different things. But if we find a rhythm between those 8 areas, you are always giving those 8 areas the things that you need. And so success then becomes measured by the way in which you get to experience those 8 areas of wellness. Because for most people, success is always tied to what they are doing occupationally. And that
Mhm.
occupational health is a part of the 8 areas of wellness. And if you think about the number eight, eight is always synonymous with abundance. It's synonymous with infinity, right? Like you're always moving in this cyclical experience of this
Yeah.
figure eight of acknowledging and addressing, how you take care of yourself. So if you can find rhythm here, your success metrics start to shift and change because you're more focused on, is this in alignment? Is this at ease? Do I have to force this? Right? Like you start acknowledging that the things that you want, you don't have to fight for in the way that you used to.
Mm. Okay, so we're talking about rhythm. Now, with
Mm-hmm.
rhythm, and we hear so many people talk about work-life balance or balance. How do you balance? Which I've had someone say, "Listen, there ain't no such thing as balance. You
Mm-mm.
focus
There's
on what you
no such
focus
thing
on,
as a
what you're
balance.
doing."
Mm-hmm.
So we can replace balance with rhythm.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, how you just explained it. Wow. Okay. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna replace that for myself because listen, trying to do everything and really be have the mental capability to do it well and
Yes.
to be healthy. Whew, honey. Woo. Okay, rhythm. All right, I have that in my notes. I'm gonna change
Yes.
my verbiage. Thank you for that. Okay, now so all of this, you're so knowledgeable and so
Thank
passionate.
you.
So, but what inspired your passion for reimagining women's work, and how does
Mm,
your work contribute to this change? Because I hear it all in your voice. You know what you're
yeah.
talking about. You're passionate about it. So, where did that come from?
Yeah, so I would definitely say a few things. So the first part about just reimagining women's work. So both my grandmothers, my mom and my dad's side, I watched both of them live two totally different lives. Same era, same, years being born. One of them worked outside the home and was the primary breadwinner. The other one was a homemaker.
Mm,
And neither of their works were any less than the other. They were both important for the household that they ran. And what I saw is that on one side, the one that was the breadwinner, in terms of how she set up like her family system, even though she was the leader, she didn't leave any successors. On this other side, the grandmother that's a homemaker, right? Like she wasn't necessarily in the lead, but she is the leader of the family. And there are successors, but they weren't intentional successors, if that makes sense, in terms of like who comes and who's taking care of everything as she continues to age, right? So as I'm looking at the two of them and where they're coming from, these are two totally different mindsets too. And I'm like, well, what happens for the woman who wants a little bit of both experiences, where they want to work, but they also want to be able to, create a home environment that looks like this for, those that they're raising and growing up. And I would definitely say that was probably the initial inspiration. And then myself being in the workforce and then transitioning from being an employee to a business owner, I had to make sure that how I took care of myself actually fed into the work that I did. And because I am a therapist and I'm a yoga therapist and all those other things in the wellness space, I was able to utilize my own practices in my work with my clients. So each one teach one, I'm going through my own process and journey of creating like this sweet experience of life where work is happening, but it's not overtaking my whole life, but it's leaving me to think about what I want to create and the types of systems I want around me. The wellness piece really helped me to build out that organizational structure. But it started from looking at two women who came from similar beginnings, different lived experiences, and what those lived experiences meant for, their offspring, their children, and, their legacy going forward.
Wow, that's amazing. I love it. Okay, so you mentioned about homemakers. I was a home wife, housewife, whatever names they have it. Then I homeschooled, and then later on I went into the workplace. But there's so many ladies that are working from home, because you are working if you are a housewife.
Yes.
And you
Mhm.
have some children, baby, that is a full-time job, and you don't get a
Correct.
break. So that mental piece right there, they need to book a section with you as soon as possible, because
Yes.
that can really weigh on you, and especially you don't get as much respect out. It's like, oh, you're just a housewife. You just haven't watch soap operas and eat bonbons all day. It's like, are you kidding me?
No, no. I watched my grandmom would work from the time I would get to her house until my grandfather came home in the evening. Like that was a
Yeah,
different level of work.
definitely so. And it's need to be respected. I love it. I
Yes.
love it how you brought both those into, and you could see the difference between the two, but it did not make one lesser than the other, and that's awesome. Kudos to your grandmothers. That's the way to
Yes.
go. Okay, so you mentioned that you were in the corporate world and then you ventured to entrepreneurship. Can you tell me about that journey?
Yeah, so the journey essentially started, I would definitely say in maybe 2019, I started feeling a little bit more antsy and being like, I don't know if I want to stay here much longer. 2020 will be, I think, might have been going into year three of the time that I was there. And I was just like, we got to start looking for something else. And I just knew that I wasn't supposed to be working for someone much longer. I didn't know exactly what it was going to be, but I also knew that I would have a private practice. And I just remember like going through the motions and getting connected with different people who had their own private practice. And 2020 hit. I had already opened up the doors and I was like, hey, like I'm taking therapy clients. It wasn't until about May, as the world has shut down, where clientele started booming. And I would definitely say over the last 3 years, right, like therapy had, or mental health rather, has like really grown in terms of the importance and people being able to acknowledge like this is something that everyone should have access to. So over these last like 4 years, I really have seen myself go from being a employee and having an employee mindset to being a entrepreneur and having an entrepreneur mindset to being like a business CEO in that mindset. I am still in the growth process of it. But what I will say is that the leadership qualities and the ways in which I think now are significantly different from when I was an employee. And as a CEO and business owner who's growing, that's a different level mindset than just being like a traditional entrepreneur where you're thinking about building business, but maybe you aren't necessarily seeing yourself bigger than being just self-employed, because you can be self-employed and an entrepreneur at the same time. But I think the mindset shift that's there is the thing that allows you to see yourself being bigger. So yeah,
Most
that it's been a growth.
Ooh, mindset. So are you at the place or do you have intentions to build and have people up under you?
Yeah, so we are actually in that process of building out a group
Okay.
practice right now. So that's important and that's exciting. So in the group practice, we are only servicing clients in PA and in New Jersey, but in terms of the executive, like mental health and wellness work that we're doing, that is a bit more open to individuals who may need it, where they are in different, cities and states and different corporations, and just being able to tap into someone who understands like what it looks like to create mentally and emotionally safe environments in the workplace and in the home place. That part is something we are looking to offer, on a more global scale, because we have leaders in every area of, you know, the world and industries, and we want to make sure that people are getting the things that they need, because your workplace is very similar to your home place. So,
Most definitely need peace at both places. And a peace of mind. Okay. Oh
correct,
my goodness.
correct.
Yes. Thank you very much. We're going to take a short commercial break and we'll be back. Are you feeling overwhelmed with projects to build your business? Search no more. Introducing Borrow My VA, a virtual assistant service, your one-stop solution to bid farewell to stress and manage multiple tasks with very little effort. We specialize in website building, funnel creation, automations, and email marketing, all under one roof. And here's the best part. We provide all these incredible services at budget-friendly rates. Discover a hassle-free way to handle your projects. No more worries about onboarding or finding that perfect virtual assistant. Our team is all set to tackle your task with efficiency. Now, once you delegate the task, consider it done. Say goodbye to overwhelm. Don't miss this fantastic opportunity to elevate your business. Join our list of satisfied customers and book a free consultation today at borrowmyva.com. That's borrowmyva.com. Thank you to borrowmyva.com for sponsoring this episode on today, where we have Djuan Short. Listen, I have learned so much today, and I'm so excited that you're here. We're going to bring her back to the stage, and we're going to continue the conversation. So you work with so many different women. Can you share, without sharing names, of course, some success stories of women who have benefited from your approach and how you help them thrive?
Yeah. So as soon as you said that, there's a lady that comes to mind. We did some really great work, and I would definitely say I saw a big growth in terms of where she was and where she wanted to be, in terms of her industry and the desire to infuse like wellness and her industry practice, and then the things that she thought was missing from the work that she was doing. So what we ended up doing was getting very clear about the type of lifestyle that she wanted. And the lifestyle that she wanted was to be in places that were tropical and very like Caribbean-esque, and just a
Yeah.
little bit more laissez-faire, and not as hustle and bustle as we know things to be like here on the East Coast.
Mhm.
And what we ended up doing was creating a almost like a lifestyle plan. And in the lifestyle plan, we looked at what would be the most ideal place for her, and was it on the West Coast? Was it down, down south? Was it out of the states altogether? And then we planned out ways for her to actually experience living there while working and experiencing life, building community, and making connections with people in non-traditional ways, right? Like learning how to ask more for what she wanted and ask more for the things that were important to her. We also looked at just tracking their transitions and how they would navigate from one season to another season to another season, because what we understand is that we are creatures of habit.
Mhm.
And because we're creatures of habit, knowing your patterns makes it a lot easier for you to prepare for the next season. And when you can prepare for the next season, you're more aligned with being able to think further out. And it shows that you're not always operating from like a crisis state. You're able to operate from being able to think long term while being still here in the present and not feeling overwhelmed by all the steps that have to get you from here to there. Some of the other things that we did was even look at like love life, because for a lot of women who are leaders, your love life is really important.
Yeah.
And what we ended up doing in this space is getting very clear about the type of partner that would align with the type of lifestyle that they want, right? For many people, we focus on the job, then we get the lifestyle, then we get the man or the other, or your partner, or whomever it is that you decide that you want to be with.
Mhm.
And it's like, well, if you focus on the type of life that you want, the person that you end up with should complement it. They should be in agreement with it. Same thing with your work, same thing with your friends, right? All the things will fall in line because you are the center of your world, and everyone else is kind of like a supporting character in your world. And then you become a supporting character in their world. But if we're creating a harmonious experience between me and you, then we need to make sure we're in alignment, and the things that we're doing when we come together is really, aligned with how we see things moving. So those were some of the things that were important to them at that time, like location, romance, partnership, career. And we got them to a place where they were able to also build out their financial status in a
Mm.
way that allowed them more flexibility than what they had before. And they were bringing in, if not the same, more than when they were in a traditional job setting. So I think that the lifestyle plan was really helpful for them to really understand what that looks like. And for y'all that are thinking about lifestyle plan, is trademark. So PM, right?
All
Because
right.
right, like let's just say,
Yeah.
but it was a beautiful experience, and I've used that same practice with clients since then. Some people, we go at it a different direction, but the tenets of it all stays the same.
Wow. Amazing. That is amazing. Like what? Lifestyle. I would have never
And so,
thought.
just FYI, they are exactly where we envision for them to be. They're in their tropical environment, working from wherever, have the partner that they were wanting, like they're financially in the space that they're wanting to be in. Yeah, like,
Wow.
mhm,
Okay, that's amazing. That is a really great review testimony of how you helped her. Now, do you ever have women who just they're at a good point, they've reached their goal and they just say, "I don't want to leave you. I want to stay here." Or do they
mhm,
say,
mhm.
"Okay, I'm good and thank you," and then they're going with their life? How does that work?
So, from the therapy perspective, I do have people who want to stay on, like maybe past like some of the goals that they have for themselves. And
Mhm.
when that happens, like one of the things that we tend to process is like if you're feeling that way, then we need to talk about what supports are not in place, because the
Mm.
whole goal is for you to build outside supports to be able to help you sustain yourself post the therapy phase, right? And then for clients who are kind of like, I'm ready to move forward, typically the moving forward has a lot to do with a lifestyle change. And so it's almost like you learn to make peace with the ending of this relationship. But we do a this is an ending and a beginning. Both experiences require a celebration. So that would be the scope in the therapy space. Now, when I'm working with clients who are coming in specifically around like career issues, again, they're like, all right, we're working on career issues, but now it's like, I want to talk about other things. So once the careers sometimes like get in a line, or they feel like they know what they're doing with
Mhm.
life, then they're like, well, can we just do a little bit over here, because this is also impacting how I'm working. And so if that's the case, we'll look at that and we'll create plans and strategize around how to navigate these other areas that might be impacting how they're working. But for the most part, it's really helping them to look at where in those 8 areas of wellness is the rhythm not moving, or where have they become stagnant. And then from there, it's creating a strategic plan that they use to implement and with my backing and with my guidance, and then with the guidance of other people that they're adding in, a lot of them are able to make the changes. But again, right, like it has to be something that they're willing to practice.
I love it. Oh my goodness, I love it. Oh yeah, I would listen. If I was your client, I would be just keep figuring. Okay, I need help with this in this part of my life, in this part of my life, because you have so much passion about what you're doing and so educated with it. Oh my god, I love it. You're super dope. I love it.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so now if you have a woman, okay, you're going through that process, but say if someone's listening right now, what are three tangible things that women
Mm,
leaders can do right now to
hmm
begin reimagining their relationship work?
I would say, okay, so this is also something that I talk about often. So the first one is, I would say, be adventurous. And when you are adventurous, it doesn't mean doing anything like super out of your comfort zone, but maybe just take a little peek over there. So
Okay.
go on an adventure. And the adventure that you go on is one of curiosity. So normally I tell my clients, like, put your little Dora the Explorer book bag on, make it cute. And we're going to go on the exploration. But before we get to the exploration, find something you're curious about. Because if you're curious about it, you're more willing to explore it. And then when you explore it, you get to create something new with this experience. So you're always in this cycle of being on an adventure, being curious, and exploring in order to create something. And an adventure could be something as simple as saying, I really want to read. I want to read. Okay, like let's get clear. What would it look like if you went on a journey of just reading Black author books, or if you went on a journey of reading books written by women from the 1950s, or books that were historical? What about those books are you curious about? Well, I'm curious because my grandmother lived during that time period, and I want to see what she was reading. It could be something like that. And then you go and you explore what are the themes that are coming out that are resonating with you and why. And when you get curious and you start doing that work, you're creating new experiences in your present life because you are now taking in more information that makes your mind and your imagination expand in terms of what's important for you. So I would say women leaders go on an adventure that allows you to be curious and to explore so you can create what you want to create for yourself.
Okay, on an adventure. All right, that's one tangible thing. What's two more?
So the other one that I would definitely say is, ooh, this one is good. So
Uh-oh.
it's the age old, it's the age old, put your mask on before you put someone else's mask on. And so in this, I would say the reason being is because now you are like, when you can put your own mask on, you are aware that something is happening, right? You're more calm. Like once you put it on, but you're also the person that's gone through the experience of trying to figure out how to put it on. So now that each one teach one, you can teach someone else how to save themselves or rescue themselves. Most of us as leaders, we want to rescue others. We want to, take care of others in ways that we weren't taken care of. When you are now aware, you can assess what's going on and then you make new decisions. Once you are able to assess it, then you are actually taking action. And the action that you're taking is being able to make a change, make a shift. And then you can be in a state where you are acknowledging what has happened, and you're acknowledging that the things that you became aware of are actually things that you're now integrating into your life. So when you think about it, it's like, I don't know, I've been calling it the A's. Um, like your awareness, you're aware, you're becoming aware, you are assessing, you are taking action, and you're acknowledging. This is an opportunity for you to be the leader who is assessing themselves, becoming aware of what you need, taking care of you so that you can then go show your team or people in your home or wherever you are a leader how to do the same exact thing. You're giving them the tools that you now have. So That's two.
Okay. One more. Let's
And
go. Let's
then
get it. Number
the
3.
last one is being able to actually give yourself a hug. And the
Mm,
reason I'm saying that is because we are such in a high tech, low touch society. And what is really important for a lot of people is that they want to be heard, they want to be understood, and they want to be given the thing that they're asking for. So if you can allow yourself to hear you first, understand what you need, and then give yourself what you need, you are more inclined to do the same for others, and you're more inclined to teach others how to do that. So, normally, how I practice how do you give yourself a hug, and it's something really simple. Like you can literally place a hand over your chest in this way. If you are someone that has like sensory issues or there's been like some trauma here, maybe thinking about what other areas in this particular space or somewhere else, like an arm that you might feel more comfortable with. But if we're saying here, this is that move that traditionally someone does when you're driving, it's a protection, like
yeah.
physical movement.
Uh-huh.
And if you close your eyes and you take in a breath or two and you ask yourself, what is it that I need? Whatever the thing is that comes up, if it says food, okay, like I'm understanding that I'm hungry. So then maybe ask yourself, what do I want to eat? And then you go and you give yourself the thing. You don't wait till later like most people do. They'll be like, oh, I'll eat in an hour. Or my favorite is, I'll use the bathroom after I finish this paper, after I finish sending this email. It's like,
Yes.
no, your bladder needs to go now. Um, so the hug, it's not necessarily a hug this way, but it's a hug in the sense of you being able to recognize that you have something to say. You are giving yourself what it needs and you are hearing you. And for most people who want a hug in this way, right, it's someone acknowledging that they're in need of something and they're providing them that level of comfort. So I will
Mm.
leave you with the hug.
Woo, baby. Let me get my clapper. Woo! I love all 3 of them. Oh my goodness. Oh yes, I'm going to be using some of this. I can't wait to this episode so I can rehear this again.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, that is a great practical things to do. Now, with you and your passion, and I know your brain just goes, and goes, and that's what happened with creatives. But at what
Hmm.
point do you turn off everything? What do you do for self care?
Oh wow, I do many things. So like tomorrow I am going to the spa. So once every 8 weeks I do a spa day. And that spa day is normally aligned with like when I get my locks retwisted. I normally have a massage schedule that day. But on a daily basis, how I pour back into myself is with prayer, journaling, and a meditation exercise. And then I have a morning ritual where every time I go to take a shower, I like light a candle. There's some music playing in the background, and then I blow out the candle once I'm done with my morning routine. So they're just small like things that I do in my day that remind me like nothing that you are doing has to be chaotic. Like everything that you're doing can be pretty easy. And if it's not easy, then we need to assess what's happening where turbulence is in the force. And we need to just assess it and be like, okay, let's keep our eye on it. Or if it's something we need to deal with, then it's like, okay, like let's make time and space to look at this. So
I love it. I love it. Oh my
mhm.
goodness. Because so many times entrepreneurs we serve so much and when it comes down to us we're pouring and nothing's coming out because we're so
Yeah, no.
empty. So that
I'm
is
gonna
awesome.
definitely preach what you preach, or what is it? Practice what you preach. Yes,
Yes,
I'm
most
definitely that
definitely.
girl.
I love it. I love it. Okay, now, okay, on tell me like what is a fun fact or what is a hobby?
Ooh.
What is something that you do that most people don't know?
Um, hmm. Right now, I would say like most people do not know that I dance pole. People know, but they don't really know.
That you
And
what?
that I dance pole, like I pole dance.
Go
I do that like 2 to 3 times a week. So it's not just actually being on the pole. Like they have different classes at the studio I go to, but I do like chair dancing, floor work. It's just a really nice way as a person to like tap into your sensuality and like your sexuality and like your strength. And you learn to feel a different level of confidence
Okay.
being in the room, and like literally and next to nothing, but you learn to like be okay with your body in different ways, and it's just a beautiful experience. I love pole dance, and I've been doing it now for almost 2 years.
Oh my goodness, that's awesome. Oh yes, oh yes. I've heard so many benefits from it, and it tightens your core and all this other health
Yes.
benefits. Woo! Awesome, awesome. I'm so glad that you're here. All right, so before we go, please tell me, give me some inspiration or anything that you
Mm,
can tell our audience, just from your heart, and also
mm,
end it with your social media contact, or how can someone get in contact with you? Because listen, you're so dope. I know you can help so many people
yeah.
that's listening. And of course, all your contact information is in the show notes. But just tell us that little inspiration and take us out that way.
Mm. Okay. So this is something I've been thinking about today. And the thing that's been on my mind today is more about be someone that you would want other people to look at and be inspired by, not necessarily for them to copy, but for them to be inspired that it's possible for them to move forward in whatever way that they are being challenged in this moment. And I think as a leader, you are always someone that people are looking at. And while that may be scary for you, know that when people are looking at you, they're looking to see if it's okay for them to move forward with something that they are working on at that time. So, yeah, that's the thing that's been kind of sitting with me. It's just being more like, I think in that practice what you preach kind of space of being like, be that same person that other people might need, for you.
Most definitely. I love it.
And then in terms of how
Woo,
people can get in
baby.
contact with me is you can reach out to me on Instagram directly at Djuan, Djuan, Shorts, Short, Djuan Shorts, all one word together on Instagram. So you can also email me, or not email me, find me on my website, djuanshort.com. If you are looking for other ways to just grow as a leader and you want to talk a little bit more in terms of individuals who are looking for therapy. If you're in the Pennsylvania or New Jersey area, you can reach out to us at dahliarosewellness.com, all one word. It'll be in the show notes. I'm not going to spell it out, but
Mhm.
dahliarosewellness.com. So those are the primary ways to kind of get in contact with me. And then if you're on LinkedIn, you could just type in Djuan Shorts, and that also will bring me up on the LinkedIn as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being on the Sheila C. Hill show. I really enjoyed the conversation. So much knowledge and so much listen. Continue doing what you're doing. You're making such an impact in the lives of these ladies.
Thank
It- It's such a need. It's such a need. It's such a need. I know you're saving people's lives, like mentally,
you.
spiritually, and physically as well. So thank you very much. I'm going to take you backstage and we're going to close
Yes.
out. Oh my goodness, Miss Djuan Short is nothing but amazing. Licensed clinical social worker. Please reach out to her if you need her. If you need her for your corporation, listen, she can train everybody in the whole corporation. Yeah, just reach out to her. And thank you for showing up today, and subscribe to the Sheila C. Hill show if you want to meet more guests as dope as Mr. Djuan. And also just know that you are loved and you are highly appreciated. Do not dim your light for anyone, and just shine bright like a diamond. Thank you for checking out the Sheila C. Hill show. It's time to go. Until next time on the Sheila C. Hill show.